All right, all right. Good morning. It is time for another edition of Pre-Market PulseScan with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports that can be yours now for as low as $69 a month. That's right, the power of the PulseWave algorithm reports put right in your hands each and every day so that you can know how to beat the central banks at their own game. Also want to remind you that at 10:30 a.m. this morning, that's right, 10:30 a.m., we're going to have our free webinar. Go to pulsewavetrading.com. You can register for that. Some very important information is going to be discussed this morning. As a matter of fact, the topic, or I could say one of the main topics that will be discussed this morning is going to be, let's see here, what is it? I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. Bybit. Yep, Frank's going to be going over the Bybit. In case you guys didn't know, all right, in case you did not know, just so you know, Frank is the residential expert on all things crypto, all right? That is his forte. That is his department. All right. I'm just a passenger on the flight. All right. That is his thing. He knows the ins and the outs about that because guess what? He's about that life. That's right. He's about that life for real, for real. All right. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. All right. So what's up to everybody in the live stream? What it look like? What's up? What's good? I can't be as long-winded and in-depth as I would like to be this morning because of a prior commitment. I know. But we're still going to get it in, and I promise I'll make it up to you on this evening's end of day report. So I got your back. You don't have to worry. All right, we're going to get it. We still got to talk about what's going on in these markets and how the crude oil political situation yesterday is reverberating around the markets worldwide. It is going to have some long-reaching aspects to it. And just like I told you, we're going through a process right now, and it is going to get worse before it gets better. But in the back of all of this, there will be enormous prosperity for some and unthinkable poverty for most. Therefore, it is in your benefit to learn how to get ready and start profiting now, today, so that you won't be one of the masses that's pretty much starving to death. All right. Just want to let you know that. Got to put that out there for you so there will be no confusion as to where we're going and what we're doing here. Why I'm doing this each and every day while I still have breath in my body, while I still have the platform. I have to help as many people as possible. That is my goal. All right. That is what we are doing at PulseWave Trading. Myself, Frank, and Jen, that's what we're doing. All right. So help me to help you. Go to PulseWaveTrading.com and handle your business. All right, enough of that. Let's move on. First things first, let's take a peep into these overnight markets and take a look at how the world is responding to yesterday's situation in the oil markets. So far, you have the Dow futures down 555 points. We're trading below 23,000 again. We're at 22,937. NASDAQ 100 is down 80 and 3/4 points at 86.10 and a quarter. E-mini S&P 500 is down 53 and 3/4 points, trading at 27.52 and 3/4. The Russell futures is down 38.1, trading at 1168.3. All right, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up $40, but unfortunately, we're below that 7,000 resistance. We're now at 6,835. All right. Looking at nat gas, it's unchanged at $1.91. Crude oil futures June contract, which is now the front month, is down $6 a barrel, trading at $14.40. The overnight high it got as high as $22.57, and the overnight low now is back to the infamous $11 handle. We hit $11.77, and the last price now is at $14.50 a barrel. We'll come back to that. Looking at the long bond, it's up 2 full points in 7/32, trading at 182 and 31/32. Looking at gold futures, once again, you're seeing the pounding, you're seeing the selling. They have no excuse to explain away the market control, all right, the price manufacturing that is happening in the spot metals, precious metals. We're down $36.90. Now we make that $37.10, trading at $1,674.40 an ounce. In gold, all right, looking at silver. Silver's down almost $1. All right, almost down a full dollar. Oh, there it is. We're now down a full dollar exactly, trading at $14.61 per ounce. US dollar index is back above par. Back above par. We're trading at par 0.40, up 45 pips. Taking a look at the euro yen, it's down 40 pips at 116.54. The euro is off 35 pips at 108.42. Pound sterling is getting pounded, trading down 163 pips at 122.84. I showed you the primary crash alert in this market, and it is playing itself out. Ignore the rally and crash alerts of the PulseWave price trigger algorithm at your own peril. The Aussie is down 82 pips, trading at 62.85. It also had a primary crash alert as well. Turning our attention to food. Beans are down a whopping 10 full points, down 10 and a quarter points, trading at 8.16 and a quarter. Looking at corn, down 6.5 points at 307 and 3/4. But wheat is up a point, a full point at 549 and 3/4. So there you have it. The carnage continues. What you gonna do about it, right? Excuse me. All right. Now let's switch our focus over here to the overnight news that is happening around the world. U.S. oil prices climbed briefly above zero before plunging back into negative territory after Monday's historic rout. We're not dealing with demand destruction at this point. We're facing demand disappearance, said one analyst. You already got the truth about oil last night, but I'm just reading you the news right now. I'm giving you some facts, but you already know the truth about that. We went into depth. If you missed it last night, you're going to want to go and peep last night's historic message. The world is more than 15% screwed up. Billionaire investor Howard Marks warned the recent stock rally doesn't reflect reality. We're only down 15% from the all-time high of February the 19th, the billionaire investor said about the S&P 500 index. Trump says he will sign an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the U.S. Trump says he will sign an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the U.S. Trump said his decision was spurred by an attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens. I would like to move on from this, but I cannot. I must deal with what is being said here and what is not being said here. Closing the borders is step one when you're shutting down. The country is shutting down, and I don't mean just internally. This is going to have global effects for the USA power structure. The country is fading as a superpower and starting to turn inwardly. I told you of that. We spoke of this. All right. Then it says they want to protect the jobs of the great American citizens. First of all, if you were truly trying to protect the jobs of the people, why did you shut down all commerce in the country? And for the most part, indefinitely. Just so you guys know, some parts of the country, some states are shutting down indefinitely. They're not coming back online. School systems have already announced they will not be reopening this year. They're already looking forward to next year. They said this year is over. It's not happening. Okay? This is a big deal, folks. Then it said they want to protect the jobs of the great American citizens. So they're protecting your jobs by keeping immigration to zero. So what they mean by that, because this has some racial undertones to it and some bias in here, okay? What they're talking about is the low-end jobs that no one wants, that the average American citizen doesn't want and refuses to take. So they're highlighting something for you right now. They're letting you know under no uncertainty that the only jobs that are going to be available for you, if at all, is the dead end, low wage paying jobs. And when I say low wage, I mean below entry level type positions that no one wants except for the immigrant who's coming here with nothing. Okay? They're taking that away. I told you they were coming for your jobs. In other words, there are no jobs. So they have to close the borders, because if other people come in, they're going to take what little jobs are left, and you won't have anything. And you already have nothing. Universal basic income, people. Just keep saying it to yourself until it becomes a reality so you can understand it and deal with it mentally when it hits you. WeWork ex-CEO Adam Neumann reportedly plans to sue SoftBank for reneging on its $3 billion share deal. SoftBank abandoned the share deal in early April, claiming it would be irresponsible for them to throw good money after bad. California regulator wants changes in PG&E reorganization plan, proposes $2 billion fine. Both proposals will be put to a vote next month. Apple expands services business to markets in Africa and beyond. The iPhone maker said it would expand the App Store to 20 countries, 8 of them in Africa, and will offer its streaming Apple Music service in 52 additional countries and regions. All right. Well, first of all, that's another telling sign. What they're telling you is that America is straight up toast, so they're better off going into Africa and not mentioning the other countries they're going into. But when you say Africa, first of all, Africa is not a country, it's a continent made up of hundreds of countries. So what they're telling you, and many of those are third world countries. So they're saying they're better off going into third world countries and practically giving the phones away. So at least they'll make some type of money off their product than to focus on any kind of new lines coming down the pike in the USA. Is anyone hearing this? Is anyone hearing this? All right. Look at the timing. They're doing this now because America is shut down. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. All right. Ferrari rolls out coronavirus testing to get staff ready for work. Ferrari said 500 out of the 4,000 workers at its Italian plants had already taken tests, and the company had the potential to do about 800 a day. So now you're giving your employees coronavirus test so they can to see if they can get back to work. I'm telling you, this is all being done for everybody's benefit. They're training you to accept, all right, the mark of the beast. They're training you to accept. And when I say mark of the beast, I mean I'm saying it in tongue in cheek. What I'm saying is they're trying to get you prepared for and getting used to and normalizing the security control measures, the locking down of your personal rights, the locking down of your freedoms. You're no longer free and you no longer live in a free society. You live in a controlled society, a pre-planned controlled society. And they're letting you know that and they're conditioning you for it now. So when it really clamps down, you will be all right with it. First quarter earnings coming out. Coca-Cola, Netflix, Lockheed Martin, and Chipotle are highlights. All right, the data on the docket today, the API weekly crude oil stock that provides a glimpse into U.S. crude oil inventory levels and the 52-week bill auction are due for release. All right, so that's what happened while you were sleeping. Now we need to talk about a couple of things. I told you last night that it was coming. This article did not exist before I told you last night. Numbers don't lie, folks. They can be made to lie, but the organic, authentic numbers in their natural state do not lie. I told you everything that you can know or can be known or ascertained has a mathematical quotient to it, which is predictable. All right, it can be predictable. Are you ready for this? USO halted amid speculation world's biggest oil ETF may be dissolved. Did we not discuss this last night? Were you paying attention? Were you paying attention? Going the way of the dodo bird. What did I say last night before it happened? Huh? I said, okay, so this is what they've done so far. They've already done OIH. They're deciding what's going to stay and what's going to go because, in their opinion, basically, the markets have been oversaturated. You got one too many ETFs, and they only want a handful of ETFs for pretty much every market and every industry. They don't want 15 different ones. All right. That's what they said. Okay. So here's what happened last night. I told you UCO and USO were next. I told you that. What have they done so far? Have you looked at the thing this morning? So far, UCO has now been repriced to $33.75 a share. Last night we were at $1. Remember, I told you they do that because they don't want you playing in their playground. All right, so they've repriced UCO. They've decided the UCO gets to stay. It's now trading at right now in the pre-market. It's at $22 a share. All right, so UCO is here, but they did not reprice USO because they may have decided that the world's largest one is about to be out. Let's get into depth here. All right. Is something big brewing? U.S. oil fund halted for pending news. After posting his best month ever in March, up 63.5%, Pierre Andrant, manager of the Commodities Master Fund, considered by many to be the world's largest oil hedge fund, is someone worth listening to when it comes to the oil markets. All right, here we go. After yesterday's catastrophic in oil markets exposed the facial and fragile relationships between physical and paper oil markets, today's price action in the oil futures have destroyed all the nonsense comments yesterday that this was all technical, and be reassured that this is not a reflection of reality. Well, they're saying it is. The oil curve just got hammered all the way out as cash and carry ARB goes out of business. All right. Along with likely basis traders blowouts, but as Nomura's Charlie McElliott warned this morning, retail investors who pumped a record $1.4 billion into USO last week are also experiencing the pain of negative carry. Remember, USO ETF represents 30% of the June WTI contract open interest. Now, now it's down 20% right now, while any other systematic roll products were likely still long May contracts, judging from forced selling over the final 30 minutes of the day closing trade. Wow, so they were showing you basically who was late to the party and late to unwind positions. And this is what Pierre is most concerned about, that the link between the massively dominant oil ETF and the actual underlying markets is about to snap and leave a gaping hole at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. All right. And he says, I think the Chicago Mercantile Exchange might have no other choice but to close out the ETF's position. It cannot take the risk to have negative prices before the roll and be on the hook. This shock is real. Be very careful out there. We are going to hear about crazy losses in the days and weeks to come. All right, he goes a little further in his questioning of the paper oil markets. The entire strip for both WTI and Brent crude are collapsing, and that's the opening bell in case anyone's paying attention. Lower today in unison because, yes, there is nowhere to put the stuff. Storage tanks, pipelines, super tankers are all full, but also because market participants believe things won't be getting much better into the future either, as nobody needs it. And without storage, since you cannot take physical delivery, then what is the utility of the futures contract itself? As far as USO is concerned, despite there not being a redemption mechanism, USO will hold something like 30% of June futures at the open today because retail traders have poured money into it, thinking it was a long-term bet on oil. It's turning into one of the great incinerations of retail money of all time. He notes that there is certainly a scenario where if June futures were to also go negative, then USO would be lights out as a partnership and could actually owe money. All right, so a couple of those things in the article, yeah, we dealt with and we talked about that the other day. So it's not a real issue there, okay? Couple of things. Okay, so when you said, okay, if you can't take the delivery, what's the point? I think you're forgetting that retail speculators provide liquidity to the markets. That is their function. Okay, if there were no retail speculators, you wouldn't have a market. Okay, so I have to disagree on that part. Now, as far as the contract rollover, the way they're talking is like they're trying to say that people were trading futures contracts and didn't understand the futures contracts and didn't know what they were doing. You can say that for a retail speculator, but you can't say that for a fund. All right. First of all, the majority of fund managers out there have degrees in economics and finance. And yeah, you do talk about the way markets are structured, things like that. They do learn those basics when they're going for their degrees. Okay, the basics of that stuff is discussed. If you take those business classes, those type of market classes, you can look into that. They do touch on certain things. So to say that those guys didn't know what they were doing is totally false. It's dishonest and it's a lie. They did know what they were doing. Now, as far as on the ETF side, though, the way the ETFs have been managed, Okay, you can talk about that. That's something to talk about. Yeah, I can't say nothing about that. That is absolutely correct. So what do we got going on here? Well, USO now is open for trading, and it is, at that $3 handle, threatening to go lower. So to say that the USO may be in trouble, though, I think is also a little disingenuous, just a little bit, because you allow UCO to be repriced, just like you do all the other ETFs, especially inverse ETFs. They reprice those all the time. All right, inverse ETFs go to zero a lot, and they always go and they reprice them before that can happen. So I think that too is a little disingenuous, unless you're saying that you're prepared to screw the biggest ETF out there just because. Now there is another big boy on the market that handles futures contract rollovers a little bit better. I just found out about this one. All right. So I will be talking about that one. And this is worth looking into, because as this economy is being halted, the global economy being halted and being destroyed, it's like they're destroying it and remaking it anew. They're deciding and picking winners and losers as we speak. They're deciding who's going to be a winner, who's going to be a loser, what big Fortune 500 company is being bailed out and which one isn't. They're not allowing everybody to play in their sandbox. Every company is not getting a bailout. They're going to let some of them die. They're going to let some of them go by the wayside. Now, technically speaking, when it comes to true economics, all right, winners and losers should not be arbitrary. Winners and losers should be predicated upon how well a company is run. I don't care if it's the world's largest company and it employs 1 billion people. If it goes out of business, well, then 1 billion people are out of work and have to find another job. All right, why should they be any different than everyone else? The government should have no hand in bailing out a for-profit corporation, because now that's how tyranny is developed. You start off with nationalizing all of industry. The government starts to not only regulate but control all of industry. That's communism. That's socialism. That's tyranny. You always start off, under socialism. Then you go down the slippery slope and you become communist. And then that's just a jump skipping away from being a totalitarian. That's what we are already. We've already gone into the totalitarian. All right, we're already fascist. What is the definition of fascism? The merger of corporate and government. We now don't know where the companies, end and the government begins. We don't know, because it's so intertwined. And then the government regulating bodies are made up of industry people. So you're the CEO of Monsanto, you leave Monsanto and you go work for the FDA. See what I'm saying? This is where we are right now. And I don't think that's ever going to change, because it looks like the people aren't sick and tired of it en masse. And so nothing's going to be done about it. Until the people rise up and say, we're not taking this no more, it's going to keep on happening. And it's going to get to the point where I believe, unfortunately, we are now, where we're at the stage now where there's nothing you can do about it. Even if you wanted things to change, it's too late, because the masses have been sitting on their butts for too long. And now we've gone down the rabbit hole too far. Once you're too far down the rabbit hole, there's no way for you to get back. All right, because it sort of acts like a mine, and it caves in on itself, preventing escape. All right. And what happens when there's a cave in? It sucks all the oxygen out of the air, and those that are trapped down there suffocate. Right? It's disgusting, I know, but this is where we are. All right. We as a people have allowed this to happen by being nothing, by doing nothing about it, generation after generation. We've done nothing about this. It didn't just start now or even in the last 10 years. This has been going on in the United States of America for decades. And each generation does nothing about it. All right. Even when the first generation failed miserably and utterly, all right, the follow-up generation did nothing about it to correct it. So when the Federal Reserve Act came into fruition back in 1913, 1914, the following generation didn't do anything about it to undo it. They didn't say, yo, hold up, wait, this is not right. This was done, while everybody was at recess or on vacation, enjoying Christmas with their families. No, this was done wrong. This was a treasonous act. Why didn't they do something then? They could have corrected that real quick. They could have said, no, you guys, what you did was whack. We don't move like this. Okay? We don't move like this. And they could have overturned that Federal Reserve Act, but they didn't. They didn't. All right. And then 100 years later, they had another window where they could have said, okay, this has been going on we've had 100 years of boom and bust cycles, things we never had before there was a Federal Reserve. Let's go ahead and let's get rid of this thing. When Ron Paul was spearheading that movement to at least audit them, what happened? They shut it down. That should tell you where the true power is in the world. It's with the banks. It's with the Federal Reserve, which is not even federal. It's a private company. We have allowed a private company to control, run, and regulate the country. They decide everything about the country. You've turned that over to a non-elected body, a non-governing body. The people didn't vote for none of the Fed. The people have no say in how the Fed is operated. As a matter of fact, they run it under total secrecy. And then they say, well, if you don't allow the Fed to do that, then it can't do its job. That is a lie. And it doesn't make logical sense. Because when you draw it out to its logical conclusion, it's the same thing as any company. You're saying that's the employee saying to the company, unless we can work 100% autonomously without any oversight, you're going to prevent us from doing our job. So we can't have a manager, we can't have a supervisor, we can't have anyone monitoring or regulating what we do. All right. Can you imagine what the average company would look like if the employees were allowed 100% autonomy and were able to work and do things any way they wanted without any oversight? So you go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac, you get up there in line, you place your order, but there's no one there to take your order because the person behind the counter is literally not even behind the counter. As a matter of fact, they decided they wasn't showing up for work today at all. As a matter of fact, there's no one there. The store is open, but there's no one there because they all decided they weren't going to come in today. There's no oversight. There's no manager. There's none. You have no say because it's been proven. Unless servants of a company or organization work autonomously, you're going to interfere with them being able to do their job. Well, that is the logic that the Federal Reserve has been saying for over 100 years. They've been saying we can't have oversight, we can't have any interference or meddling from the government, or we won't be able to do our job. How many times have they said that? And the people say, yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, well, again, but when you draw that out to its logical conclusion in all areas of life, it collapses. Okay, so children get to do whatever they want at home. No parental oversight whatsoever. Kids go to bed when they want and get up when they want, clean their rooms when they want, do whatever they want when they want, without any parental oversight. Now, mom, dad, you can't ask me where I'm going, because remember, if you interfere with my process, then I won't be able to do my job as a kid. It's ridiculous. And it's been ridiculous for a very long time, and it's gone unchallenged for a very long time. And they've used the veil of secrecy to do everything that they have been doing. And then they've written laws and passed legislation to ensure that it stays that way. And if that situation is ever challenged, they use all types of force. You don't know how many assassinations there have been. And even when they announced them, the American people clapped their hands. Yes, this leader in this country was assassinated today. Yay! Woo-wee, all right. Go USA. Because they've already brainwashed you with their propaganda and told you that this country was a terrorist country and its leader was terrorist and the people are terrorists and that we have to bomb them to oblivion and go and take their natural resources from them. They don't deserve their natural resources because they're terrorists. When the real terrorist is the USA. All these things come into play, folks. That's why you can't believe anything that your government is telling you because they go unchecked and unquestioned. You're not allowed to question anything. They use the mainstream media to ensure that your programming remains intact. They use psychological tricks to make sure that all dissent is quieted. Anyone that has a voice or a platform that's getting too big, they shut it down. Look what they did to Alex Jones. They shut it down. All right? Look what they did to Bill Cooper. When they couldn't shut him down, they couldn't quiet his mouth, they put a bullet in it. All right? Look what they did to that first CIA whistleblower dude who was bringing some facts to you, the one that exposed that the USA was in control of the global drug market. And when I say drug, I don't mean prescription drugs. I'm talking about street drugs, cocaine and heroin and all that stuff, that the US was responsible for its proliferation, not just in the United States, but worldwide. What did they finally do to that dude? He also is shot and dead. All right? Anyone who opposes the behemoth is assassinated and made to look like a suicide. And the people say, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess he was suicidal. How was he suicidal when they say he was shot in the back of the head 15 times? Show me anywhere where a person committed suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head 15 times. You can't, because it's impossible. So many of these go unchecked and no one even investigates, because if you try to investigate, they shut it down. If you're a police officer, if you're a detective, if you work for the FBI, you work for any government agency whatsoever, and you're one of the good guys and you want to look into this and you want to work it, your superiors are going to shut it down. And if you don't stop, they will shut you down. And if that doesn't work, they have to go and use their mainstream media apparatus to paint you as a lunatic. They have to defame you in the media so no one will listen to you. And then if that doesn't work, that's when you get suicided. It's a shame the way that things go in the country. It is a shame. It is sad. And no one is the wiser. The masses of people, as long as they have their housewives of whatever city or state you fill in the blank, they're happy. As long as they have that, they're good to go. Just don't take that away, and we good. It's sick. So here's what's going to happen. Either they're going to make the decision to take USO off the board, or they're going to allow it to restructure like they did UCO and all the other ETFs, and then we go on like nothing ever happened. So at some point, they have to make a decision. All right. Like I told you, their job is to make sure you don't get to play in their sandbox. They want to make it hard for you to play in their sandbox. Always remember that. All right. They're not your friend. They don't care. They don't care about you. Not at all. They don't want anyone in their sandbox. So if they see you getting in their sandbox, their job is to make things difficult or darn near impossible for you to continue down that road. All right. So anyway, we had to go there. I had to break some of that down on a continuation from last night. I'm working on a few things for the end of day report. Lord willing, I'll be able to get them all done today, and then we can. I'll unveil some more stuff to you. But there are some alternatives for you. There are some ETFs that do a much better job with futures contract rollover. Not all of them do a good job with that. That's a difficult thing because futures does have contract rollover. All right, and it's not automatic. You have to do that. As a retail trader, you have to do that. If you're long soybeans, and soybeans have been in a bull market for the last 3 months, and you got long, and you're riding this out, making money every week, holding these long positions. But now the contract is going to expire, and the next month contract is trading below this one. You got to hurry up and take your profit and decide if you're going to get into the next one or not. All right, and in some cases, that's just how it is. Some ETFs just don't handle that contract rollover very well, and it's a fact. It depends on how it's managed, how it's run. So with that being said, folks, this ain't over yet. All right, we're still caught in these sideways markets. Wall Street hasn't decided what is real and what's fake yet. That's why we're kind of stuck in a sideways pattern. The NASDAQ 100 is not without that. We had some alerts coming into today's trading that I gave everybody in the last night's video. And now you see these crash alerts doing what? They're playing out just like they showed you on the reports. You can't make this stuff up. That's why my reports will go out ahead of time so that you can be kept abreast to what's happening. And you'll be in a position to possibly profit from it. All right. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in again. This is all I got. I got to get ready. So I got to be somewhere. So therefore, remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And do not forget at 10:30, we have the webinar coming up. You don't want to miss it. Some new things are going on in with the crypto space. And my man Frank is going to educate you in that process. All right. Also, something for you guys to think about. VPNs are becoming a necessity. They're really becoming a necessity. And because of not just government tracking, but corporate tracking on a corporate level, you probably, if you're not using a VPN, you're probably going to want to start using a VPN. It's just the way of the world, people. All right. I don't know how else to say it to you. You're going to need a VPN. They're making the game this way, so you don't have a choice but to protect yourself. Seriously. So you got to use a VPN. They're making it so that now you have to use a VPN, especially if you're going to be dealing in the crypto space. All right. Use a VPN. And you're going to have to decide what country you want to say that you're operating from so you're not being tracked. That's the best way to do it. And in most cases, that's the only way you'll be able to trade crypto the way you need to, because your government has interfered with that process and made it so that if you are a USA customer, some of these companies are afraid to do business with you and they won't. But if you're using the VPN, then you can do what you need to do. That's all I'm saying. I'm not suggesting or telling you to do anything. I'm just stating facts. I'm talking about technology right now. Technology exists that allows you to remain more anonymous on the internet. That's all I'm saying. All right. You do the math. You decide what you need to do. Okay. I mean, this is not any different than what some of our brothers and sisters have to do overseas because their government controls what they can see and hear on the internet. So they have to use a VPN to bypass those firewalls so that they can get to the truth and do research and find out what's going on in the world. It's not their fault that the government is doing that to them. So they have to do what they have to do to break free from that. So I'm saying the same thing here. If you live in the USA and you wish to trade cryptos, you don't have a choice but to use a VPN and set things up outside the US so that you can do it. Or you won't be able to short the market. They put restrictions on you, or they won't let you open it at all. So, not telling you what to do. We're just talking about the way of the world right now. You're going to have to start finding workarounds because your country, all right, unbeknownst to the sheep out there, is no different than China or any other country that seeks to censor information. They censor information here too. No different than China, folks. No different. The only difference is that, okay, we don't have a government mandated firewall on the internet. Not yet, but I'm sure it's coming. But they still censor. They still have the power to take down blogs and websites and restrict traffic to certain places. You probably didn't know that, but yeah, they do. All right, so you got to use a VPN, folks. That's all I'm saying. All right, with that being said, I'm out. I'll holler at y'all at the end of the day report. And for our post waivers out there, I'll see you in the trading room. All right, so let's have a profitable trading day. All right, and my man Frank's going to talk to you guys about HODL and trade on Bybit. So you don't want to miss that. That's coming up at 10:30. And I'm out. Peace.